What's up, guys? Robert with the Piston Slap channel, and welcome back. We're on National Force Service, 555, heading north. If you look off in the background through the trees, you will be able to see Deadwood Reservoir. Slow down and maybe get some of that quality. You might have to turn your quality up on your camera or your video player to get it. But that's Deadwood. That's where we're heading for lunch today. And then after that, we're going to head back into those mountains and then across over to another place. The road down here below is one of the roads that we're going to be linking because that's just kind of snakes down the side of the mountain. And you can see all our trees have burned in this area. It's sad, but that's nature for you. And hopefully, I think this one was caused by a lightning strike 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So it's going to be a while before the forest comes back. But I had been in here before it burned, and I'm going to tell you, man, it was kind of spooky. But anyway, we'll continue on to Deadwood Reservoir, and we are trying to keep that fuel consumption down to a minimum because I think our next fuel stop is Yellow Pine. Tyler taking a little detour. Big old 1250 Triumph Tiger. So, topic, let's talk a little bit about tires. I know we kind of touched on what tires we had on here today, but there's always the people are asking what tire, this, that, you know, in and out, who knows, you know, nobody knows what tire they want until, you know, you buy one, and it's like, how do you find that perfect tire? And the short answer is you're never going to find the perfect tire because there isn't a tire that does everything 100% perfect. It all depends on what you're riding, where you're riding, what you're riding, how you're riding it. The thing that I always, when anybody asks me about tires, especially, you know, like Tyler was asking, you know, because he's looking, he's like, what do you think of these? What do you think of these? What do you think of these? And everybody's going to say something different about a tire. And this isn't a tire review. This is how I select my tires. Think of the worst possible scenario and worst case that you're going to ride your bike in. I don't know what you're looking at. Well, looks like we're doing a little off the path. This wasn't part of it. Anyway, think of the worst possible thing you're going to ride your bike through, and then go from there. And pick the tire that you would want on your bike in that scenario. You know, a wash, a mud crossing. Stuff like that. So you think about what's the worst thing you're going to be doing with your bike, and then buy the tire for that, because that will always assure you that will assure that you have the right tire, and you're not going to be left with, you know, a bike that, and it's not the bike's fault if the tires aren't getting grip, you know what I mean? I learned this a long time ago riding out on the Alvord Lake with the Golden Boy tires from Shinko on my DRZ. Everybody was like, these are the greatest tires, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're perfect for anything that you're going to pretty much come across on the DRZ. Yeah, that's until I started actually riding my DRZ and realized these tires are great for this, and that's about it. Paved roads, you know, if that's what you're doing, that's all you need. But when the Alvord Lake, you know, crossing a dry lake bed, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's, how hard is it? it's extremely hard when it's raining, because I got caught in a rainstorm out in the middle of the Alvord Lake, and it was like it was worse than trying to ride on ice. So, you know, had I bought the right tires, because I was riding with another rider that had a nice set of knobs, and his tires were cleaning out and keeping him hooked up to the ground so he could actually ride and not fall over. I think I experienced seven accidents or 7 crashes. I fell off the bikes. You know, it wasn't happening. You know, and part of it, you know, there is a part of it that is rider, but even the best riders crash sometimes. So that's what my topic for tires. If you're looking for tires, try to think about the worst thing you're gonna ride. You know, maybe a rocky road like this, climbing up to a fire lookout or something that's loose and shaly. Are you gonna want those battle wings that your bike came with stock? Probably not. Will your bike go up it? Yeah, it'll do it. But you're gonna really have to work the bike. You're definitely asking a lot of the tire. Now, the stock tires for the Tiger, I've ridden this road with those stock tires, and those stock tires are fine for a road like this. They're not going to be, you know, they're not going to hook up as good as a more off-road dedicated tire, but it gets you there. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. You got to kind of, you know, you got to pick it, what you're planning on. You know, they say 90-10 tires or 50-50 tires. That's not 50% on-road, 50% off-road. That's, God, I found it, and it's on the tip of my tongue. Can't remember the name for it. But, you know, it kind of corresponds to the type of tire and what you might come across as, you know, a 50-50 tire would be like ideal for this kind of situation. An 80-10 tire being 80% more off-road than, or 80-10, yeah, what about the other 10%, idiot? That's the air. You got to make sure you have your off-road air and your on-road air. I carry one of each, and then I have my seasonal blend too for the summer and winter months. So your 80-20 tire, you know, 80% off-road, 20% on-road, they're not so fun on the pavement. You can't really get low and drag knees on the corners, but out here you're gonna get your best grip with them. Not so much on this stuff, but when you get back into that like loose, shaly, rocky crap, or in the mud, or whatever else you may come across. You know, and like I said, it's always best to have the tire that's going to do the job for the worst case scenario, because when it happens and the tires don't work anymore and you wreck, it gets expensive. And I don't know about you, but definitely haven't ever seen anybody towing a boat way out here. Just when you think you're heading out into the middle of nowhere. But, Deadwood's a pretty good sized reservoir, so I don't know if it's electric motor only or if you're allowed to actually have an outboard or something. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up. I've been talking about tires and a boat. We'll catch you back at the reservoir. Get some of that coolness. This is awesome and all, and I'm sure you guys are enjoying the scenery and the topic. If you got questions or comments and like how you select your tires, some of you guys that watch the channel, you've been riding longer than I've been alive, and you've probably ridden almost every single tire out there. So you know what works, and you get that preference of what tire. And you might get into that situation and you're just like, I'm not going to ride my bike in that, so I'm not going to buy a tire that would even work on that. So anyway, I'm going to shut up until we either see something cool or get to the lake. So, alright, we're here at Deadwood Reservoir. See the water through the trees. It's a pretty good size reservoir. Couple boats out there. There's campgrounds all along here. We just passed one called Cozy Cove, I think it is. And we're coming up on the dam. What was really weird about this reservoir that I noticed is it's actually quite warm for where it's at. Alright, so we took a walk across the dam, took a couple pictures. Still got a long way to go today. It's almost lunchtime. I feel like we're making good time, but just when you think you're on top of it, you know, you're gonna be like, oh. It's right about 75 degrees right now. It's starting to get a little toasty with this Icon Dakar jacket. I have to start cracking open some vents, or else I'm gonna wither away to nothing because I'm sweating. So that's the Deadwood River, or creek, however you want to call it. We'll ride back up here towards the dam and climb up out of the canyon and skirt the reservoir. I think we were here in 2017 or 2018, one of them. I can't remember what year it was. There's the dam. And then you can see the water coming out of the spillway. I think they got 2 spillways. One's open today. Government facility. It'd be cool to be a park ranger and just have access to all that stuff and just ride around out here and go to the different ones. Because there's little guard stations all over out here. Every time I'm like, oh, there's not gonna be anything out here, and I come across another freaking guard station and some cabins, and it's like, holy mackerel, man. We're like 30, 40 miles in the backcountry away from anything that resembles a paved road. Oh well. And then you just get there and there's a freaking cabin and a guard station, a ranger station. It's like, what in the world? So this is all new to me from here on out. I haven't been past the dam in all the years I've been up here, which is kind of stupid because I know this road goes out and links to 2 other roads that take you out to 2 different highways. So it's just a good day trip if you're doing that. We're doing a little bit more than that. We're heading way up by the Frank Church area. So, come on. And yeah, it just depends on where we get, because we're gonna try to ride till it's almost sunset, or just as the sun's going down, and then we'll set up camp and call it a night. And I'm sure we'll be up at the butt crack of dawn, back at it. So, I'd like to knock out 500 miles tonight. It's kind of my plan. That's what I'd like to do. Let's see where we're at right now. We're 3 hours into the trip and 105 miles. So we got 400 more to go, and it's already noon. So 4 noon, we got like 8-9 hours left. So as long as we're doing about 50 miles an hour, which we're doing 25, that's going to put us around 200 miles today. So 300 total because we're already at 100. So it sounds like we're going to go short. Who knows? We'll see where it gets, because some of it's kind of like that grade was pretty rough. This section is a little windy, but once we get past the reservoir, it gets quite straight. So it might pick up some speed there. Alright guys, well this is going to conclude this little section here for Deadwood. We're at the northern side of the reservoir. Found a little shady spot. We're going to grab some lunch and maybe snap a couple pictures, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, follow along. And always I encourage you, I've got a bunch of old off-road videos. You can always go check those out. So anyway, I'm Robert with the Piston Slap channel. We'll see you guys next time.